They think that her daughter is a trans kid because she's a girl with short hair. The woman yelled at the youth's mother while calling her a genital mutilator, a groomer, and pedophile. We've been having a conversation about the trans athletes issue for a while now, and a lot of people think, oh, you know, there's some genuine concerns to be had here. There's some like genuine questions to be had about whether trans women who've gone through male puberty have an actual advantage in sports, rah, 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 rah. And, you know, the counter argument is, are any of these variables things that it's not at all possible for cisgender girls to experience? Because if you're like upset about trans girls being taller on average, well then, are you also going to bar particularly tall cis girls from participating in the sports? If that's your limitation, then why don't we just make height and weight categories and do away with the gendered stuff? Whatever, but like this is like a whole goddamn argument. The problem here is that they are passing laws, and we've covered them on a channel before, restricting access to sports for young kids, and in some cases, instituting policies about genital inspections and like confirming documentation and like maybe even chromosomal DNA testing to see if this kid is actually trans and has an unfair advantage in the sports. We've talked about this, and it's not going to be good, is what we said. Here we are now reaping what we sow. We knew that this was going to affect cisgender girls more than it was going to affect transgender girls, because here's a fun fact for you. There are less than 50 trans athletes in schools nationwide, whereas there are 25 million girls between 5 and 18, ages 5 and 18, who are currently in school. So the moral panic around trans kids is dramatically overblown. They just, like, we just aren't dominating sports. There aren't very many of us, and when we are in the sports, we aren't dominating them. If your concern is like, oh, you don't mind if trans people play, but so long as they don't win, you know, so long as they're barred from excellence, then that's fine. But yeah, we're mostly not even winning either. So the people who this is going to affect ultimately are going to be cisgender girls, who someone just decides to call into question their gender, and then suddenly there's a bunch of scrutiny on them. And that's exactly what's happened. There were some grandparents who were attending a school track meet in Kelowna. There was a girl, she's 9 years old, a cisgender female girl, like accused of being trans at a Kelowna track meet. This is a track meet. 2 Kelowna moms. So that's another detail to hone in on a little bit there, is that this kid has 2 moms. So the moms are speaking out after the 9-year-old daughter was verbally assaulted at a track and field event on Thursday. The mothers, who choose not to identify their daughter, say that she was competing in shot put event when a grandfather of one of the other participants started yelling at her. Shot put is that thing where you're holding like a, it's like, I think a metal ball, or like, it's like iron, right? It's like a big fucking heavy iron ball, and you start with it like here at your shoulder. You know, you're doing I'm doing a sports. You get it here at your shoulder, and you go like, and that's the whole thing, and it lands like in a stretch of sand, and the goal is to go to shoot far, to throw ball far. That's what shot put is all about. So that's what the sporting event was. This is not one that we really talk about being a contentious trans-related sport, I guess. Like, quite odd. Quite odd. The mom says she went to step up to compete for the grade 4 shot put final. And right before she went to throw, a grandfather of another student said, "Hey, this is supposed to be a girls' event. And why are you letting boys compete? My daughter is cisgender, born female, and uses she, her pronouns. She has a pixie haircut." So this is a little girl who has a short haircut, and she is being accosted at a sporting event. She's like literally stepping up, about to throw in a competition where you like need to be focused. You need to have your mind in the game. You need to like have your stuff together. And she's getting like yelled at by a grandpa just randomly on the sidelines. The man carried on demanding certification to prove that the daughter was born female. This man stopped the entire event. He pointed at another girl who also had short hair. He piped in and said, "Well, if she's not a boy, then she is obviously trans." The mom said that the man's wife started calling her a genital mutilator, a groomer, and a pedophile. So the wife, like the grandma presumably, who was at this event, they're yelling at these lesbian women, these cisgender lesbians, calling them genital mutilators, groomers, and pedophiles because they think that her daughter is a trans kid because she's a girl with short hair. Literally, a girl with short hair. That's all it takes right now. That's the place that we're at, is if you have short hair, people are gonna like openly call into question whether you're trans, stop you from being able to participate in this event, at least temporarily. The superintendent confirmed that steps are being taken to ban this man, so that's good. There's gonna be consequences. This man will not be at school-related events in the future. Staff intervened and moved the shot put area away from where this man was. The gentleman was not part of our school district. So is this like a visiting? Oh yeah, I guess it was like a visitor. One of the opposing kids, like their grandparents, like accompanying them to this event as an away game kind of thing. And then they kind of got butthurt, it seems like, that their kid wasn't doing very well. And so calling this other kid trans is a great way to like make it so that their kid gets a higher score, for sure. The girl's other mother says that the events on Thursday have rocked their daughter's confidence. Quote, "This has destroyed our beautiful daughter's confidence, and she was inconsolably crying during this whole event and continued once it was over and we were leaving. Not to mention, she was unable to concentrate on her track and field finals and the shot put throw for which she had qualified." The parents posted a photo and identity of the man on local Facebook groups, but Castanet is not willing to publish the information. I have no such problems. We'll get to that in a second. Let me make sure that there's nothing else here. Yes, Aaron Reed pointing out cisgender girls will be challenged for gender investigations in sports. Cisgender girls will be arrested in bathrooms. These anti-trans laws don't work. People are really bad at telling who's trans. Yeah, okay, yeah. So the alleged perpetrators were identified by the girl's parents as Joseph Tessar, a Kelowna resident, and the woman with him is assumed to be his wife. The woman yelled at the youth's mother while calling her a genital mutilator, a groomer, and pedophile. Just, again, like a cisgender kid. Yeah, cis people. Is it trans for women to have short hair? Thank God the right is protecting women's sports. Absolutely. Thank God. Yeah, wonder where he got the language. Wonder where these people got the language of calling us like groomers and genital mutilators. This is where the rhetoric has gone. Hard not to see this as homophobic as well, since the parents are lesbians. This monster completely wrecked the self-confidence of a young girl because he couldn't stop from expressing vile bigotry fed to him by conservative media. These people have been brainwashed. These people have been absolutely just, their brains have rotted out and they've flown out of their nostrils onto their pillow at night. Like they're waking up and they're wondering what all this fucking goop is plastered to their face. It's like their brain has just melted out and conservative media is filling their skulls with just literal actual piles of shit. I just have no other conception of what is going on. It's verbatim the Republican rhetoric, but of course they will not take accountability. For serious. Like, they are the ones who are saying all this stuff. Eventually, there's going to be a manifesto. This is what's going to happen. Eventually, there's going to be a manifesto where someone uses this rhetoric. They're going to, like, shoot a 9-year-old daughter of some gay parents. You know, the situation went okay this time, but people are fucking crazy. And people will bring guns to a track and field event. Like, some little cis girl is going to get killed because someone thinks that she's trans. I'll put fucking money on it. I don't know when it's going to happen. I would say before the end of the year. Before the end of the year, some cisgender woman is going to be killed either outright by gun violence, or she's going to die in the hospital after assault in a bathroom or something like that. Like, I will bet that it's going to happen before the end of the year. A guy with a swastika and SS tattoos shot up a mall and they called it a psyop. It doesn't matter what the manifesto says, but that's the point, to obfuscate. Truly, I don't know that it even matters. Like, I don't even know that it will matter to them, that they'll take responsibility. It's not about them taking responsibility. It's about making sure the U.S. government has enough information to prosecute. You know, I don't know if they need for these people to be accountable on their own. I think that it would be enough to be able to connect their rhetoric. If there is like a terrorist activity, it could be potentially incriminating on the folks who are being invoked, the folks whose language is being invoked. A form of this seems to have already been a thing. If cis women are too good at sports, their gender is called into question. Right, and I mean, the thing is that this is, we've already pointed it out before when we discussed this, but it is going to primarily affect Black women and Hispanic women. Like, otherwise, I would bet the darker your skin, the more likely it is that if you're really good at sports, they're gonna start demanding chromosome testing and genital inspections and pelvic examinations where some random fucking person who knows who they're gonna hire to do this, like, puts their fingers inside of your daughter and, like, presses against her belly while pushing up inside her vagina to feel around for her ovaries. Like, I mean, if that's what you want to happen, or a transvaginal ultrasound where, like, they stick an ultrasound stick inside of the vagina and then, like, move it around so that they can see the ovaries. Like, this is the kind of invasive testing that these people want to have done to your cisgender daughters who are just trying to participate in sports. I'll do a chromosome test if they do an IQ test. Oh, we're just gonna end the segment there. That's solid. That's solid corpse candy. I'll just leave it there. That was perfect.
Happy Pride from myself and my patrons. Especially want to shout out Tiago Nascimento, Mersh Rolvog, Amanda B, Danielle McDonald, Sarah A, Spooky Heather Sylvia, Robin Olson, Michelle Winter, Athiette, Wellington Marcus, Jamie Jam, Desi Quiche, Suzanne Maynard, Nova, Kevin Young, Sojo, Elizabeth Bartell, and Mr. Atheist.